I helped Verhagen go from posting content that got likes from other consultants to closing 34K in 1 week. And one of the only things we changed was who he was talking to and how he phrased that. Because most B2B founders, they think that their problem is getting more likes, more views, higher engagement. But if you don't know your ideal client like deeply, like actual scary deeply, all your content doesn't matter. Because what you'll end up with is attracting peers or like-minded people that are inside the same bubble, but not any clients that actually want to purchase your services. But you'll just end up getting comments, maybe a couple likes, but no sales calls where you can actually make a conversion happen or drive someone to an add to cart page where they can then make a smaller purchase. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can make an ideal client profile using our proven frameworks so you can make your customers and prospects feel like you can do some kind of mind reading. So you will walk away with a list of words that your ideal client uses when they are ready to buy. So every post, every lead magnet, every sales call, basically any interaction you have with your lead, online or offline, sounds like you've been inside their head. So let's get into it. So who do you actually want as a client, and how can you actually start talking like them so that they actually feel like you are in their mind? So the profile of Farhan, the example I shared with you, it's in Dutch, but I can shortly explain what it says. It says how to get consistent and easy leads out of LinkedIn without being salesy. He specifically helps newer business owners get 0 to 1. So they currently don't have an offer, they don't have an ICP yet. He helps them set up their DMs, set up the base infrastructure to land clients out of LinkedIn. I helped Farhan go from posting content that got likes from other consultants to him closing 34K in 1 week. And the only thing we changed who he was talking to and how he said it. And something specifically he said as well in this 20-minute case study video we did together, that he doesn't chase clients anymore, but the system that we built to now do it consistently for him fills his week for him, right? He closed 34K in 1 week in month 1 of working together, and he booked 43 calls in 2 weeks and got 1,400 comments on his first post that we did together, right? So one post, 1,400 comments is 43 sales calls, is 34K closed. And we together built an ideal client profile that makes his content feel like mind reading. But the problem he had in the beginning, and also why most people get their own ICP wrong, is the false comfort frame myth. That's one of the couple points we'll walk through in a second, which is that the frame is I help coaches. I work with B2B founders. I serve consultants who want to grow. And it's the same as everybody else does. Everybody else has this frame. There's like everybody just watches their neighbor do a certain positioning and then they just copy it. And that's the whole myth, is that they think that's the thing that will help them solve their own ICP. It won't work. So the second problem most people have is they have the peer trap, which is the symptom. It's the high engagement content which gets likes, gets great post, comments, but result in an empty calendar because you have 0 discovery calls, right? It's the problem that you don't know who your ideal client is, and you're not talking to buyers, but talking to peers. So people that are next to you also trying to land the same clients. But then you're basically like creating this pool of competitiveness together where you should stand out from the rest. If else, you should never use this framing and try and not use these words until you've differentiated yourself so much from the market that you can now kind of be more specific, and that is your positioning. Then it's fine. But in the beginning, you want to stand out massively and use the exact words your clients also use. So the iceberg analysis of the diagnosis is that you probably are here right now. You just have your LinkedIn profile set as a job title, you have the industry, you have some sort of revenue. Like, this is how you define your ICP. So you say CEO. You say industry, coaches. Excuse my writing. And then the revenue, I guess most of you say 10K plus. This is how you define your ICP. How broad is this? It's insane. Like, it's only 3 things. It's basically everybody online. But the whole magic is in the deeper problem of this iceberg. The exact problem your client has, exactly the problem, maybe it's time. Maybe it's resources. Maybe it's leads. Maybe it's calls. Like it's one of those. It's not all of them. It's one of those. And then go one level deeper even than that. Then you use the exact words they use to trigger their emotional state. And the magic of this is in understanding the exact problem they are trying to solve, right? The exact words they are using to describe it and the exact emotional state they are in when they go looking for help. Because if you use the same words, you will also attract the same emotional state and the people that are in the same emotional state. Because they won't all of a sudden think, oh yeah, okay, well, tomorrow I need 10 more leads. They won't like, poof, out of thin air think, tomorrow I need 10 more leads. It's an emotional state they've been through because they notice that, shit, if I don't get 10 leads tomorrow, I won't be able to pay my bills in a week. I won't be able to pay my bills in a month. Like that's a problem. And now they feel like they're underachieving, they maybe feel shame, they feel guilt because they cannot achieve certain things. That's the thing you want to target, the emotional state that's under the iceberg. So an example is Jason, where we did this exact transformation. He's a recruiter, also in the Netherlands, coincidentally, with 14,000 followers, right? He was posting good content consistently. He had kind of decent engagement, but he didn't have any booked calls. None through LinkedIn. No inbounds, no DMs. He didn't really like doing DMs. So his content was speaking to other recruiters and not to the founders who actually hire recruiters. He was basically posting job posts, posting these job opportunities that then other recruiters that also would like to help out recruit that person would engage with. So we changed his messaging to speak directly to founders. And his result is the following timeline. So we onboarded him week 1, 2. Day 7, we got his funnel live and first post published. Day 9, step 3, we got 11 qualified calls booked for him on his calendar. He's never seen that before. And then in day 12, he closed a 20K partnership deal. So he actually said, I never booked a single call from LinkedIn before. Now I get more inbound calls that I can handle. He had problems taking all the calls. He didn't know how to do that amount of volume of calls. So we had to do some sales training as well, kind of work a bit on his mindset. This is actually what his calendar looked like at that time. So yeah, 11 calls booked in 1 week, and then 2 more week after, and the week after that there were a couple more trickling in as well, which is awesome. Great for him. And we all made this happen with something we use, which is called the client's language bank. And I'll hop into that later down this video as well, exactly how you can make your own client language bank. Because we only are using these words as of now in all our marketing, all our posts. These words are definitely prioritized everywhere. So what are the 3 layers of a real ICP? The surface layer, which is also the top part that I mentioned in the iceberg. It's the job title, industry, company size, revenue range, right? So for example, there's also something you can directly speak to. And for example, your tagline, in our case, it's with our predictable revenue system, we work with B2B coaches, consultants, and agency owners doing 10 to 15K months who want to get an extra 20 to 40K consistently through our system, which can do that week over week, month over month. Now, the situation layer that they are in, which is kind of one layer deeper, is where they are stuck. Like, what have they already tried? What's working, but is not working well enough? What's kind of working? They don't feel the need enough to kind of express that. Maybe they're kind of ashamed of something not working fully, so they don't really want to mention that. And then what's broken and frustrating to them, also like a pain, but maybe something they don't want to mention, right? That's the stuff you want to uncover. For example, in our case, our ideal client is already posting on LinkedIn. They're already getting engagement, and they might even have a couple lead magnets or assets created, or they are in their online business journey. Separate from what Farhan is doing, our ICP is more someone that has already done it a couple times and is now looking to do it consistently every single week or month, and is willing to invest in a system like that so they can scale up in the future. Like, we work a lot with engagement scores as well. So for example, tracking how many times a post has been liked by a certain individual, and also segmenting that based on what they are liking. So are they liking, for example, in my case, the post with sales calls, where I mentioned that, then that means that they are looking for sales calls. But if they are liking posts with copywriting in them, maybe naming that, then they're potentially looking for help with posting consistently, creating content, which is separate, right? One is content, one is sales and sales calls. So we are actually working with those kind of systems more. So they would need to be kind of already taking a step towards that, investing a bit into lead magnets, assets, videos, but they don't have a system that connects it all, right? They may be stuck in feast or famine mode, where they sometimes have loads of leads, sometimes have like this influx of getting a lot of sales calls so they can close, but not every single week consistently. And at that point, they've maybe tried posting more, but no, didn't maybe work because the system on the back end is not there. They tried hiring a VA or like some sort of assistant employee to send DMs, which without proper training is 9 out of 10 times is spammy because they don't know what they're doing and just proposing, booking a meeting right away and pitching right away. Or they tried running ads, which could be too expensive because right they only have revenue one peak month and then they can invest that revenue for the next month, but then the month after that to run ads again is too expensive because their revenue is going like this. Or no conversions happened within the ads and they didn't know how to do it properly because maybe as well they didn't have the budget, right? But they're not beginners. They are kind of stuck at going to the next level, which is systemization. That's kind of our situation layer, and we've uncovered that also through the client language bank. And how they talk about it is the deeper level, right? It's also the words that echo in their mind when they think about it. It's not just the words they voice out in their content, in the DMs, in the calls. It's also what do they tell themselves constantly that they need. And if you can speak that language back to them, you actually make it seem like you kind of read their mind. But a client doesn't say, I need a CRM integration or I require a lead nurture sequence, right? Which is some of the things we deliver as systems. But they say things like, I want to know where my next client is coming from, which is deeper. And the CRM integration solves that. And the lead nurture sequence solves that as well. So, and I'm tired of guessing what's working. If you implement a system that tracks engagement scores, in our case, you'll be able to see when a lead hits a certain engagement score and then book in. So we know that at an engagement score of 30, between 30 and 40, a lead will book in a call. Because at that point, they've consumed so much content that they are ready to talk to you. That's something the system solves. But this is what they think. Point 3, I need something that runs in the background so I can focus on delivery. These are exact words people say. But this is what they say. And this is what we do. So it wouldn't make sense for us to put on our profile, hey, we help you with CRM integration. No, we will help you with knowing where your next client is coming from. We will create a system for you so you don't have to guess anymore on what's working. We will help solve that. That's what we help solve. So that's exact words from our client's language bank where we use their language. They feel seen, heard, understood, and then they book a call because we look like the best person to solve that problem because we understand them. We go a level deeper. Now, how do you extract this? This is the part that's actually like the meat. So ride along, do these steps, and create your own client language bank. So mine your past conversations is step 1. You need to have documented all the sales calls you've done, chats you've done with prospects, testimonials and case study interviews, and even comments on your post. Every kind of documented piece of evidence where your ideal client had reached out to you and sent you a message, which is on paper, or talked something in a call, which is in a transcript, you capture all of that and put it in a big folder somewhere, right? You kind of look for patterns. So what we've done is we've taken 10 sales calls, the recent ones. I've taken, I think, 15 DM conversations with prospects that actually closed, which is important. We have about 20 actual recorded testimonials and case study interviews, like this first one of Verhagen. So we can take that whole transcript and then comments on your post. Not sure what the exact number is, but also maybe 50 or something like that. Right, you can do a bit less, you can also do more, right? The more data you have, the more accurate the result will also be. So, for example, in our client language bank, the document I just showed as well, the screenshot, the top words are consistent, predictable, system, clarity, and control. Where system and consistent are the biggest ones. So that is also the words I will then phase out in my LinkedIn profile, right? We will build a system so that you can then get 20 to 50k months consistently. We want to hit that consistently and system words in there. And ideally add in predictable, but you don't want it to be like a mess of keywords. It needs to make sense. All right, so once you have all these words, you can group them into themes and you can build your messaging framework. So for us, we structure them in these words. So we have the core desire, we have the system and infrastructure, the emotional payoff and tangible results. And for core desire, we have consistent, predictable, steady, growing. System, for example, machine, engine, automated, dashboard. Emotional payoff is clarity, peace of mind, calm, control. I think there was also in here, there was like scale, right? Because people want to grow. That's a graph. Tangible results, qualified leads, booked calls, revenue collected. They care about this. All right. So then you use it everywhere. And maybe another tip that you can do in between here is everybody uses ChatGPT. So you can just open ChatGPT, open Claude, whatever provider of AI is your favorite. I just use ChatGPT. It has all my knowledge. And then you create a project and you add in all these documents. And then you ask GPT to do an in-depth language bank analysis of the top most used words by all these prospects, so you can then run a deep psychological analysis on these words and use them in your marketing. And it understands what you want to achieve in the middle. It can think, it knows what to do, it has all your data, and then it will give you the output. It will put all this data through what you've explained to it, and it will give you the output and let it think for you. So just upload all these documents in a big Google Doc or something, attach it to the chat and let ChatGPT think for you. Like, make it easy for yourself. This doesn't have to take like hours. You can probably find all this in 1 or 2 hours. This you can do in 10 minutes. Like, this is 1 hour. What's that age? 1 hour. And this is 15 minutes. Boom. All right. So once you've done that and you have this document, that is now your clean analysis document. You can reuse everywhere. So if you're rewriting your LinkedIn headline, maybe paste in your current LinkedIn headline, paste in that analysis document, and just ask ChatGPT or Claude again to rewrite your LinkedIn headline based on those words, right? Make it easy for yourself. You don't have to do it manually. So you can use it in your LinkedIn headline, banner copy, lead magnet titles, your post hooks, and your sales call scripts. We use this document everywhere now. Everywhere. So these words, consistent, predictable, stable, ready, growing, calm revenue, we are using them in every single asset we create through AI because we include it everywhere. And don't forget about what you built. So actually use it. It's the most important part. So an example is that Melissa Gaglione's headline used to say something generic about brand partnerships. And now it says, I help founders get consistent clients without chasing DMs. But same offer, different language. And she went from random spikes to 15 plus calls in 3 weeks. She has currently done another research, again with a content specialist. And now she's changed her headline again to something more tangible and more better fitting for her audience. So from this client language bank, we then create an ideal client profile, which is a separate document where you can then write out your full ideal client in these surface, situation, and language layers, which is 3 levels deeper than anybody else of your competition is doing. So the ICP triangle, this is how we created our triangle based on the client language document. We create an ideal client profile, but the ideal client profile has 3 core traits of a perfect fit. So we split them up in a triangle because it's super easy to understand and people understand things in things of 3. Like a row of 3 is super easy to understand for everyone. So I'd recommend you do the same and create it in a triangle. So on the top part of a triangle, we have a proven offer. In our case, we need our ideal clients to have a proven offer, right? We need to make sure that they have something that they have sold in the past before, but the growth is not consistent. It's kind of unsteady. But we don't really do offer refinement. Maybe if we're in the middle of the process and we need to create a new offer, we do that. But in the base, if you want to get a system that reproduces a result multiple times, you need to have an input that is proven. So that's why we need an offer that is proven. So if we're talking to someone who hasn't sold anything yet, they are not our ICP, but they need something else first. That's in our case. So an ICP is, in our case, someone that has already sold something, but their growth is unsteady. And we qualify hard on this. The second part of our triangle is the content engine. So we have one, and then we have two, and they need to be posting in our case. So that's something we found that is super important. If they are not posting, they need to build visibility first. We can kind of help with content. It's fine. We have seen instances, for example, with Marco, which I'll share in a second. He has 5,000 followers. We can help them as well. Or Nico Jacobs, he has 1,600 followers, I believe. Helped him as well. Booked 8 calls in a week. But ideally, they're already posting, but their content doesn't convert. Really important in our case. So we took this analysis of all these words, these numbers, comments, interactions, every single thing we documented. And after we created the client language bank, we then created this ideal client profile, which is what do all these people that have gotten the best result with us have in common? Like, what are the same things they are all doing that make them successful and make other people we've worked with less successful? There's always like a certain top 20-30% of your clients that do it better than the rest. So you want to amplify those best results and don't sign as much as the clients that get the least result. Maybe you want to figure out a different offer for them so you can help them in a different way. Maybe an offer validation session or an ICP validation session in our case. Because in our case, they need to have a validated offer and they need to be posting consistently. So maybe we can work around like separate offers for that. But then another thing we notice is that they need to want to systematize. If they don't want to systematize and create an operating system for themselves, they're still in kind of hustle mode and I'm trying to figure it out and do everything at the same time and do this and do that and hire this person and blah, blah, blah. But they need to kind of try to build systems in the past, but it's kind of scattered. So it doesn't work consistently. And if all these 3 points connect on the proven offer, the visible content, and the messy backend, the result is that this is someone that is ready for a system, right? They don't need more tactics, but they need a structure. And that is a predictable growth and peace of mind, which is the result we will give them. Predictable growth, peace of mind, and at least 8 qualified sales calls in the first 30 days. Now, the example of Marco, we went through with him. Marco is a AI advisor for government organizations. He had about 5,000 followers in the Netherlands. He was posting consistently, but wasn't getting leads. Now, what we did, step one, is precision ICP targeting. So we identified that his ideal client was government management or directors, which are responsible for AI compliance. And they are overwhelmed by the new EU AI Act, which is a new law in the EU. And they needed clarity fast. So not a 6-month consulting project, but they need to get help right away from an expert that can guide them through the EU AI Act, which was really important. So precision ICP targeting is that we needed to target these AI compliance officers, maybe through the managers and directors or through the government employees. So we also try to target one outer layer and one more outer layer for him. So what did we do? We extracted the language his ideal clients use in the calls. So in Marco's calls, his prospects kept saying, we don't even know if we're using AI, or I'm worried about the fines, or I just need to know what to do now. So they were worried about the fines. They didn't know what to do. So we built the 10-minute AI compliance scan, which is his lead magnet, his free way of kind of providing help to his audience, which is a free AI compliance scan that shows you in 10 minutes if you are at risk. You don't even have to talk to Marco at that point. There were a lot of people that did book a call and want to know more or reached out to Marco. But in this 10 minutes, you already got your first help. The moment we kind of extracted the language and knew how to position this, we went on to step 3, where we created the predictable funnel architecture, which in his case looked like this. Some clients look a bit different, but we built a simple funnel where we had a LinkedIn post with a lead magnet inside, and it would, if somebody requested this lead magnet, it would filter them to an opt-in form with qualification questions. and then it would go into an automated follow-up sequence, and from there the leads would automatically book in calls into his calendar or reach out to the DM, and then he would have like a little message with them and then book them in. Chat bubble. So this is about a month ago where we created this post, advised on this visual, and he got 371 comments. Half of these are leads because he also replies to every comment. So it's about, let's say 150 leads from one LinkedIn post. Before that, he had almost 0. But the results from that were that he said, it's the first system I've used that I can actually see working. And after week 3 of working together, he had a 100K pipeline from these enterprise deals. And his post hit 180 comments here, which 150 leads, with 3 leads a day ongoing. And with comments, then I mean the comments of actual leads and not of Marco. Which is insane. You can see that here, all these leads are coming in. We have an executive in financial services, senior advisor, asset management, manager, co-founder, all qualified people Marco can now reach out to, build a bond with, and he's already provided value. So he's on the right framing with this as well. Awesome. So what's the biggest mistake people make when to try to kind of work out their ICP, work out their targeted client language bank, is that they try and focus on their fantasy ICP, which you might also have seen here. This, which is their fantasy ICP, is just the thing they can imagine themselves working with. They can imagine themselves working with coaches or working with B2B founders. But that's also because they see that other people are working with them. So they can kind of visualize that. They've seen it a couple times. Other people are working with, I help coaches. They are saying, I help coaches. I help B2B founders. So I must do the same. Instead of actually thinking properly themselves and looking at their last 5 to 10 clients. So their fantasy ICP is 7-figure founders, blue chip SaaS, enterprise brands, right? But that's who they want to work with and not who actually buys from them. Instead of thinking backwards and thinking, who here have I helped in the past? Okay, this person, this person, this person, and this person as well. And this person also showed interest, and this person might also have been a client, and this person as well. So now you have 7 people. 7 people that have worked with you or might be wanting to work with you. And then you look and reverse engineer why these people wanted to work with you. Instead of thinking, who do I want to work with? 7-figure founders. And then you just pick 7-figure founders out of thin air. You actually go back in time and you think about, who have I helped, and try to speak to that person. Because if you do it that way, you actually will help someone that wants to buy from you. Instead of just picking a random person, just be logical and think 2 steps back. Like, who did I help? Who were they? What did they all have in common, right? What words did they use? And that's your ICP. Your ICP is not who you want to go and help, because your ICP is who can you help best. Ideal client profile, which is the client you can help the best. You can get the best results for them. So it's also way easier, because once you accept your ICP and you understand that this person is my ICP, I can help them the best, everything else gets easier. But your content gets easier because you know who to talk to. Your lead magnets get more relevant because other people think, wow, what you're putting out is actually super helpful for me. I want to get it. And your sales calls get shorter because they believe that you're the most qualified for the job, because you're the one that has worked with people like them the most. And you have been getting the best result for people like them. So don't just pick an ICP out of thin air. Think back, be logical, and think which one. Maybe you've worked with 10 people or 20 people or 30 people. Maybe you've worked with 500 people. The system is still the same. If you've worked with 500 people, then like that were clients of yours, you just take those 500 people and look at who were the best performing out of those 500. And maybe that's only 1%. That's fine. So then you have 5 people that you have worked with that have been the best. So now you try and target just these people in every single thing you do, speak their language. So you can attract more of these people and just skip all the other 495 people. Because they were great, they've brought you to where you are, but you want to only work with these people now. If you're just starting out, you've only worked with one person, dissect why that one person wanted to work with you, break down their traits, words of this one person, so you can get a second person that's like them. Like you can all put them together in the same room and they are the same and they can immediately be friends. You could also see it that way, right? So works for one, works for 500, doesn't matter. This is how I've grown personally and how I try to target leads. So full recap, attract the right clients by knowing them deeply and looking at what kind of data have you gotten from them, what data is good. So what data do I want more of? What clients do I want more of? What data is less good? What do I not want anymore? And then just focusing on those clients you want more of, right? So go back through your sales calls, extract the language, build the ICP profile using this triangle, and start using it in your content. Use the ICP triangle to validate your ICP, so it's logical, you can communicate it clearly. It has 3 main points that deliver one end result in the middle, right? So these 3 points need to be true in order for us to deliver on this middle end result. Super easy to remember. And then build your ICP based on actually who buys from you, who has bought from you in the past and was nice to work with. And then accept your ICP. That's it. It can change a bit in the future. It's always something that's evolving and growing, of course, but accept it and just target on that for the next 6 months, because then you will actually grow and people will see you as the expert within that domain. All right, so let's recap. If you want the right clients, the ones that booked calls, actually show up to your calls and close as a client, then you need to know them deeply, understand them. But not just their job title, their revenue, or their industry, but the actual words they use, right? The one layer deeper under the iceberg, and their exact emotional state ideally as well, to be able to sell to them effectively. Now, could you do this yourself? Absolutely. That's why I gave you all these tools, so you can take the next step and define your own client language bank and your own ICP. You can just go through all your old sales calls, extract all the documentation, extract the transcripts, throw them all in AI, and then do this analysis yourself. But the reality is that most people won't, because doing a process like this takes time, takes structure, and you also need to actually implement it in your content. You need to actually use it while creating your funnels, emails, content, hooks, profiles. You need to implement it in everything. This is just the first step. So it takes a system to actually start capturing those leads and make the conversations work. And that is exactly what we do inside our predictable revenue system, where we help you nail your ICP, nail your offer, and amplify that by building the full backend system that will get you automatic sales calls booked into your calendar from your content, right? We'll create the CRM, the automations, so that everything finally lines up in a simple system that you can understand yourself, and then it converts. So if you want me to show you how this would work potentially in your business, then you can click the top link in the description. You book a funnel audit with me, where we'll go through your entire existing setup and I'll show you where you're losing leads and how you can potentially fix it. I'll see you in the next one.